And welcome to Matrix Talk. We are here on this Friday, October
Yep.
6th, 2023. And I'm Kevin. That's Phil. Uh,
Bill?
and we're here to talk about ACT for Anxiety and Depression. And we have quite a few people who have signed up for it and a few people who have who are online with us, which is cool.
Yeah. Oh, even better.
And,
Nice to see you here.
and we have Max says hello. I didn't say
Oh, Max. Max has
I
already got it. So, folks like Max, if you're here, chat in.
said hello from Maine.
Yeah. Let us know where you're from.
And let's see. So that's one of the housekeeping things.
Yeah. The follow button.
Oh, wow. I've been
Yeah. Texas.
in my youth, I've been there. Just why? How do you? I can't. Well, of course, he can't tell me how you pronounce it, but I can't remember how my mom and them used to pronounce that town. I'm from Texas. I'm born in Texas, Max. So big. It's a big country, right?
Yeah.
A whole another country, as they say.
Seguin.
Seguin, that's it. Seguin. Yeah, that sounds how they would pronounce it. And finally, in the upper right, you can follow us. Not finally, actually, in the upper right, you can follow us, which is a cool thing to do because when we do stuff like this, you'll be notified of it.
Yeah.
And if you want to get courses done by us, where you get American Psychological Association continuing ed credits, you click the green button below. And one of them is indeed ACT for Anxiety and Depression. So, well, we thought we would do a little overview of it because it's really popular. There are a lot of people interested in.
Oh, yeah.
It's our #1 selling course, and so well, we'll do a bit more. And anything else, Phil? Are we missing anything?
I think that's covered the bases. Yeah.
Okay,
We're good.
we're good. So how do you do this ACT for Anxiety and Depression?
That's why they're here.
Is right. Well, if you're new to ACT and haven't been around it very much, you will quickly realize that you don't know where to start, probably. And so
sometimes after you've been around it for a while, still don't know where to start.
you don't know where to start. And we can go round and round and round where to start and theoretically and this and that. But I would imagine most people just want the simple, how do I get started at this?
Yep. Right. I think that's probably what would be the most useful thing to do.
Now, the way I did it back when I did a lot of clinical work, was to keep in mind the idea of informed consent.
Very important.
Meaning, and that's what I think almost any training you go into. And then when you're evaluated in what you do, one of the very first things, I've been familiar since.
Oh, good.
All right.
Great, Max.
To do informed consent. And so you want to do that. You want to help folks. And the way Phil and I figured out is we can wrap up getting started with ACT for Anxiety and Depression. At the very same time, we say, well, informed consent is that I would like to work with you using ACT. And it looks like this. And we can take a look at it. And then after we take a look at it, you can decide whether you want to work with me or not. Fair enough? Most people go.
Everybody says, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
go ahead, show me.
And notice I couched it in informed consent. You know, this
Yes.
is what I would like, you know, I'm going to show it to you, and you don't have to do it, but you're going
Not
to,
obligated.
you're not obligated, but you can see after you show it. So, and I do it using this diagram. Now, those of you who have signed up to this and know us know that it's the ACT matrix, uh, and so but I'll say it's real quick. It's easy. There's senses at the top and mind at the bottom. You see that. Relief over to the left, that's the feeling of relief, and there's a feeling of contentment over to the right. So it's that simple, you know, and that forms two lines. And in the lower right, you answer the question, who is important to you? I mean, if, for example, my wife is important to me, so I would put wife. So I'm working with somebody, so I say, so who's important to you? You know? And as I said, I just gave my example. I said, my wife is important. Who's important to you? Well, I don't know, but Max is here. Who's important to you, Max? Anybody else that wants
Anybody
to
else that's on?
lob in and say, huh, he's a wife too.
Grandson. Hey, wife times two.
Yay, okay. And that's how you do it, folks. It's
Just
not,
like
it's easy peasy like that. There's I think in all the thousands of times I've done this, one person said, you know, I don't know who's important to me.
yeah,
I'm like one. It's really rare.
it's a low number.
It's really. So if your mind's saying, oh, gee, what if they say no one's important to them? Well, just know that my occurrence of that is like 0.0001.
Yeah.
It's really, really low. So they'll say who's important to them. Friends and neighbors and dogs
Yeah,
and
pets,
cats.
your pets.
Pets get in there, stuff, whatever. And you say, okay, that goes down there in the lower right. In the lower left, we put yucky stuff. You know, for example, fear. So fear shows up inside of you. Doesn't feel very good. You know, so we call it yucky. So what other stuff shows up inside of people? Might show up inside of you, or even if you, worry.
Worry.
So worry is one of those things that shows up. Exactly. I might even give them the example pain. You know, physical pain is something that shows up on the inside, and that's yucky, you know. And you can think of other things. And now, and indeed, they may say, well, anxiety is yucky. Well, there we go. That's our topic for the day. And as a matter of fact, it almost always shows up.
Yeah.
And depression.
Depression's a close second.
Right. So these are ones that people mention anyway. And that's, so, you know, in working from this model, we put the yucky stuff in the lower left. Cool. In the upper left, and everything in the upper part of the diagram is behaviors. So that is things that other people can see you doing. So like for fear, you might see me running. And that's a response to get relief from fear, right? Worry. Gee, I wonder what Max does for worry.
Yeah.
What might it look like? What behavior might you do for worry?
Talk to the wife.
There we go. For some reason, my mind went to those old sitcoms where they'd show the guys in the maternity waiting room smoking cigarettes and pacing. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Max is out of drinking beer, though, too.
Yeah, back when cigarettes were good for you.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Sophisticated relief moves back in the day.
We got pain. Hey, you know, I take a couple of Tylenol or something, you know. Then you can see me doing it, right? You would see me picking up the bottle of Tylenol and putting them out and taking them. Jackie had
more.
Well, yeah, worry I'll start worrying about my worry. I'm worried that I worry too much.
Yeah, really. I know I worry too much. I'm sure of it. Ruminate.
Ruminate,
Oh,
yeah,
there's another one.
that's a popular one.
Close
Now
cousin
that's
of
it.
worry.
Now, usually when people might say, "Well, that ruminate's not a behavior that you can see," and you're right. And Phil will show you. You can do a little circle,
Here, I just did it down here. There you go.
and that's a little rumination circle. It's going
Little,
on the
little.
side of you, and so you might be just sitting there, but you're sitting there and ruminating in your head. So it looks like that. And in the upper right, we put behaviors you do for the contentment, So, hey, I talked to my wife. It works. Any super helpful to show how worry and ruminate can be
Oh, yeah.
incorporated.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
How
Yeah.
we do it, just like
Yeah.
that. Very simple.
All of this is meant to be very simple, very straightforward, so you get it.
Yeah. No analysis. Just put them down.
You're just putting it down. It's really easy. We're not trying to make it hard at all. As a matter of fact, we're doing everything we can to make this easy.
Play with the grandson, Max says.
That's in the upper right. So for grandson, you might play. For your dog, you might feed them.
Oh,
Feed There's lots of stuff,
something for your family.
Hey,
Yeah, spend time with your family.
spend time. There you go. And
There you
there's just a bunch of stuff that people will put. And then you finally say, okay, to finish off this point of view that I'm talking about us working together with, is right in the middle, we put the word notice. And what that's for is that, like now I know I will do this. In the next week or so, I might have the opportunity to notice who's important to me and notice yucky stuff showing up inside of me and notice myself doing relief moves, to get relief from the yucky stuff, and notice myself doing contentment moves too, with who's important to me. And that's what the noticing's for. And so, what do you think? What do you think about starting and working from that point of view in regards to your anxiety and or depression? What do you say, Max? Or Jay, or anybody that might be straightforward? Right. And people will say that, well, that's simple.
Yep.
They'll oftentimes say, gee, that's useful.
Yeah.
And
Just heard that the other day. Yeah, this is useful.
and then, this is the case. I've never had anybody say no.
No.
I've never.
Oh. And vice-
Literally never had. It's like, oh, okay. Now, what you just did, to back up from an ACT point of view, is that is the entire ACT process. So the outcome of ACT is a process. And when you say those words, and like, well, what do you mean? Aha, it looks just like that. So what's that mean? Well, you got, who and also what's important to you. And so you're going to do stuff in life in the service of who and what's important to you. There you go. But this yucky stuff shows up inside of you and can, like anxiety and depression, and can, derail you, get you off, So you want to work with that so that it doesn't derail you so much, right? Yeah, okay. And of course, you can do stuff just to get relief. Go get a drink of beer or a joint or something, or you could do something more, in quotes, healthy, like do yoga or exercise or something like that. But nevertheless, whether it be healthy sounding or not, it's a relief move. It's something to deal with anxiety and depression. And in the upper right, well, now it's this stuff of, doing stuff for who and what's important to you. Boom. And you do that process, and by noticing all of that, you notice when the anxiety and depression like stop you in your tracks, And then you also notice when you have the anxiety and depression, but you go ahead and do stuff for who and what's important to you. So, and that's acceptance and commitment. That's what. So at that point, you're accepting that you have some anxiety and depression, and you're doing committed actions toward who and what's important to you. The way that, and I heard Phil say this just earlier, you take it with you.
Hang it with you.
You learn how to take the anxiety and depression with you, and it's a process. So that's what you're doing with somebody. That's the overall. That's what we're going to do. Okay. Now, Phil, what do you do next?
Well, we already wrote it back in the middle of the diagram.
Right. From an ACT point of view, really, you don't do anything heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Nothing
Never.
heavy-handed.
No.
It's really, and if you read about ACT, you'll hear about this present moment awareness. Okay. And they'll say, oh, it's a mindful approach. It's a present moment awareness. That's the noticing. And meaning you're just going to notice all that stuff. And the better that you get at noticing all that stuff, the higher the probability you'll just accept anxiety and depression and get on about your business. And then the people say, well, how do I make that happen? You don't.
You don't. That's pretty funny. You don't.
You don't.
What?
And well, and then like, okay, it would be like, what's the best way to mature from age 21 to 25?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'll take a shortcut.
Really?
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to do one day at a time, chunk, until you're.
Next thing you know, there you go. So maturity has shown up.
And you'll look back on it and you'll go, oh, things are different now, right?
Yeah, that's how I did it. Yeah.
Well, that's like ACT. That's ACT. It's not about doing something hardcore right now,
right,
to deal with that stuff, which is what sort of CBT promises.
Yeah.
Right. The promise of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, was that we're going to teach you and you're going to practice these cognitive behavioral techniques.
Yep.
And in pretty short order, you're going to get relief from your anxiety and depression because you've done this cognitive and behavioral stuff to get relief.
Apply this to your issue here.
Now, from an ACT point of view, you can go ahead and do that.
Oh, yeah.
It's not something you can't do. You can do CBT under the umbrella of ACT, but
it don't fit right in there.
Right, but you don't have to by any stretch of the imagination. And for most part in ACT, it's not that at all. You're just learning how to. Learning is the right word.
Yes, that's the word.
You're learning how to accept that you have anxiety and depression. And if anybody out there thinks, well, why in the world would I learn how to accept that? Well, because we all have it.
It's shown up.
I haven't ever talked to anybody who doesn't have them. So with all that said, so the easy peasy thing is that you just chit chat with people and get them noticing. That's really, if you're, once you become very artful at this, like somebody who's been certified in the ACT Matrix, you're just good at having conversations with people and you bring them back to the matrix, the point of view.
Back up here.
And you say, well, given our conversation, where does it fit?
Where would you put that?
Where would you put it? How do things fit onto this? And you just keep doing that back and forth. So it really lets you do a form of this chit-chat check-in therapy with structure.
Well, yeah, within a structure. Chit-chat within a structure.
Why do I say that? Well, because, and people may not know, I literally spent 30 years training doctoral level interns. I also trained some LCSWs and other folks like that. But for the most part, I was in the business of training pre and postdoctoral stuff. So, meaning I studied psychotherapy a lot, and really I was paying attention, and Phil did this too, to what really goes on in
Yes.
psychotherapy, not the stuff you read.
Not the stuff you read about in the book.
No.
What happens when you close the door and it's just you and the client?
Door closes, right, and there's no supervisor, and there's no
There's no
report,
one-way camera or any of that stuff. It's just you and them.
just you and the person. Well, you end up doing a lot of chit chat.
Yep. A lot of words getting exchanged.
Yes, and it's a valuable part of the process.
Yeah.
I'm not dissing on it, but the way the books are written and the way we're all taught about therapy is you're going to go in and you're going to do this very structured therapy. I have seen CBT people, and I used to train CBT. That's was pre-ACT. So, from 89 to 2003 or so, I was really into CBT. So that's 13, 14 years of training CBT. Well, guess what we discovered? Even in something as structured as CBT, the chit chat
There's
shows.
chit-chat therapy going on.
And I mean, even if you're really, really disciplined at it, well, it gets to be Friday afternoon and you're tired.
Right. Your flexometer is running close to E.
Yeah. And you don't want to be doing no darn CBT or something.
No. You've seen all the charts you can see for the week.
Yeah, you're out of gas. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to do chit chat check-in. That doesn't mean you're not going to try and do therapeutic stuff,
No.
but still there's going to be quite a bit of check-in. Well, here you go. That's what this diagram does. You can go chit chat, chit chat, chit chat.
And hey.
Well, and you can literally say the stuff that we've been chit-chatting about. Where would we put that up here? Oh, well, we were talking about important stuff. Oh, it goes lower right. We were talking about yucky stuff. It goes like that. You just bring yourself back to the process, which is what that is. That's the ACT process. And if people keep showing up and practicing this, they're practicing the ACT process organically. How's that word?
I like that. Organic. Yes.
It's organic. So ACT now, because of CBT and lots of other things, and because textbooks tell you, a lot of people say, well, you have to do, ACT exercises. So you have to do values exercises, values clarification. Phil and I did those for a week or two, and then we had to give them up.
Pitched them.
We pitched them because, well, honestly, our clientele didn't like them.
Ooh. What's this?
I didn't like them. And so there's where, it sounds good on paper. You read it in a book, values exercise. This looks great. Yeah. And then it turns out there's some people that you can piss off with them. And Phil and I happen to have those clientele. I had post-traumatic stress disorder veterans with a heavy load of substance use. And Phil had ne'er-do-well.
Disgruntled youth.
Disgruntled youth. Yeah.
Lots of them.
I didn't like it either.
No.
So ixnay on the values exercises.
Yep.
So the other thing then is, well, you got to do diffusion. DEFUSI.
Oh, yeah.
Diffusion. Meaning you're taking the stuff that shows up inside of you and stops you in your track, like fear,
This stuff.
panic, and anxiety, depression, and it hits you, and It just, we call it hooked. You get hooked by it.
Gotcha. Right.
And so you do exercises to essentially habituate the person to experiencing that feeling. And it's really based on language. So you take a word that's they're fused with, and you repeat it a whole bunch of times, and you put different metaphorical things onto it and all kinds of stuff, so that the effect of the word on the person is lessened.
Yes.
That's a diffusion exercise. No, we didn't do that either. Why? Because
Man, what do you guys do anyway?
we show people the matrix and we
That's
chit
it.
chat and we can't keep coming back to it.
We-
That's
can we
all
keep-
do.
Bring him back.
Right. And it works just fine. I mean, people will, in a few weeks' time, will go, wow, things are going a lot better.
Yeah. Things seem to be working better.
Literally, they'll just say stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff is working better. And it happened organically. That's my word of the day, organically.
Yeah.
It just,
In
and that's what you can do. So the ACT matrix, you can say it's the ACT process. It's a diagram of the ACT process. So you show the person and yourself this diagram of the ACT process, including the noticing. And then you just come back to the diagram when needed. I mean,
Yep. Stay there when you need it.
doesn't mean you have to bring it out all the darn time. You don't have to do that.
Nope.
And as I said, because it's based on that process, you could say, well, let's try some CBT stuff and
Yeah.
see how that works for dealing with your anxiety and depression. From this model, folks, you can actually do that.
Perfectly A-okay.
You can try it and see how it works. Now, you might notice that, well, I'm spending a lot of time trying to get rid of anxiety and depression, and that's not working. I'm burning up too much time.
Ah,
There you go.
ah.
Probably maybe a little acceptance would be better there,
Could
right?
be. Could be. Well, Kevin, here's a question that Jackie has thrown in here, which is right to this. I notice my work, the client said today, I notice my worry doesn't work and it doesn't help me to change.
He noticed that too.
Yeah.
He or she noticed that? Wow.
I'm still doing exactly the same thing week after week. Here we come. Any tips for handling this moment?
Well, yeah. No. For us, we are going to reward their noticing.
Absolutely. That is some
literal.
very
We're
cool
gonna
noticing
reward
that
their
you're
noticing.
Yep.
Wow. How
Yeah, that's
cool
really good noticing. Yep.
that you notice that process.
Yep.
You've noticed your process of worrying on top of worry, and you've noticed that it's not working to get you where you want to go in life. Now, the person may not have said it that way, but I will say it that way.
Yep.
And so that's what we do. We reward them for the noticing.
Yeah.
Now you could do this. Who was it, Jackie? You could
Yeah,
tell them, what you need to do is knock off the worrying.
Yeah.
You need
Just
to
stop
doing
that.
it. Yeah, just stop that.
Yeah.
Now, it won't work. That won't work, but you may be tempted to do that. But that won't work. But that's essentially what you're doing with a lot of other therapies. Is you're just make it with a medication. You're trying to get it to make it stop with a medication.
Yep.
CBT, you're trying to get it make the worry stop with cognitive restructuring. Let's say.
Yeah, we're trying to eliminate it, get rid of it, control it.
And where with ACT is, oh wow, so you noticed worry showing up. What did you do after the worry showed up? And what do you mean? What did I do after the worry showed up?
Well, really? What did you do?
I mean, what behavior did you do?
What did you
after
do?
the worry showed up? I'm like, huh. And then they'll go thinking about what they noticed, and what I'm doing
Or
is
noticing.
I'm noticing. It's
Or noticing. Perspective taking.
There's no doubt, and in the end, it's perspective taking. But it's noticing. The number one thing is noticing. It's the replacement for present moment awareness.
Yeah.
So you use the word noticing. So when they've noticed themselves worrying and it's not working, there you go. You might even go, wow, I've noticed that about myself as well.
Yeah.
I've done
Yeah.
that. Put worry on top of worry.
Yeah. Right. You can go like, you too? Boy, I do that stuff myself sometimes.
Now, with that statement, we're bringing in another aspect of ACT, which is you don't ever assume that the client's dealing with anything any different than your own life.
No.
You know, you got all this stuff as well, and we're all humans, so we'll go in. So now the way we've done ACT for anxiety and depression is we've made sure anxiety and depression showed up in the lower left.
Down here. See, we put it down there today. See?
So if I come in and somebody else has done an intake and they come into me and at the top of the sheet, whatever, in my clinic, and it's they got anxiety and depression. Okay, I
Yep.
know for sure I need to get anxiety and depression in that lower left quadrant. If they don't say it, I will.
I'm going to bring it up. Yeah.
I'll put it in there.
Yeah. Have you noticed any anxiety showing up for you?
And you say, well, Kevin, why would you do that? Because I like working, and the clinic I work for really likes me to address the problem
Right.
first to come in.
Yeah. Especially because they hand you that sheet with the presenting problem on it.
They have you a sheet with presenting problem.
Oh,
Right. That's it.
okay.
And so you need to tip your hat to that and work with that. Okay.
And help them get up to business.
And now, literally, from an ACT point of view, when they go off, their assignment is going to be to notice when the anxiety and or depression shows up in their life between now and the next session. That's it.
Yep.
No, we don't know. That may be just you and me, Phil.
Could be.
Other people might send people up to do values
I think they
exercises.
might send them off to do something, but we don't do that either. We don't assign homework.
We don't do that. We would literally have them on a treatment plan. So now
Yeah.
we're writing, or the case notes or whatever,
Right.
whatever you want to call it. And we're going to say, for homework is the client is going to notice when anxiety and depression shows up in their life. It doesn't sound like much. Turns out that's a really powerful thing to do.
It's pretty profound, actually.
It's awesomely powerful thing to do, really.
It really is.
And the great thing is even if they don't do it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Yep. They can't do it wrong.
There's no. In the end, what I really disliked, or one of the things I really disliked about CBT, was it was so homework oriented, and my clientele, more than half of them didn't do the homework.
Oh, man. 99% of mine didn't do the homework.
Yeah, I had a little better, because I was working with adults. But
Right.
still, a solid 60-70% never did the homework.
Yeah, that's not good odds at all.
Right. So I wanted to get away from that. And so with this, the noticing homework, you can either notice it or not notice it. Either way, it works just fine.
Yep.
Then you're not getting into that mess. So
Yep.
basically, so let's tell them, okay, so you show them, you start them off, you're here for anxiety.
There you go. Got it.
Right. Here,
Oh, look at that.
Did you do that?
No. You
I
just
didn't-
had like explosions of stuff behind
I
you.
didn't do that.
Oh, Jackie saw that. She said,
My
"What?"
hands have been right here.
All I did was pick up this. Let me see it. Try it again. Nope, didn't happen that time.
We've never had that happen before, folks.
Wow. Yeah, it is super freaky moment.
I mean, literally, my hands are up
You
here,
had
so
fireworks shooting out.
whatever it was telepathy.
You know, you're having an aha moment. Remember we talked about mind blown moment?
Well, that would if you had those fireworks go off all the time when that happened, that'd be something. So, so let's say you say, well, how do I do act with anxiety and depression? Step one, show them the ACT process,
Yes.
which is the ACT matrix, but it's really just the process. It's the ACT process with the noticing. So that is who's important in the lower right, yucky stuff lower left, relief moves upper left, contentment moves upper right, and noticing right in the middle. Bing, got it. What do they say? Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom.
That's in there, right? Now you
Nope.
ask them about their life and how it's going, and this and that and the other, da 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 da. And after you chat about it a while, the homework is going to be, well, you've come for anxiety and depression. They may have noted something else, worry, that shows.
Oh yeah.
Well,
those are
they have a lot of that, and you say you can notice that too. So now the way you do it is you say you can notice that stuff or not notice it. Either way works just fine.
Either way is fine.
You say, well, why do we do that? Because we don't want to put pliance on the person. We don't want to try and force them to do homework.
Coerce. No
That's
coerce.
that's for teachers and coaches and stuff.
Yes, exactly. That's for the sit down, shut up, and do your work crowd.
Right. That's not for this.
No.
This is about personal growth, right?
Right.
And the person's going to grow
They're
themselves.
going to do their own growing.
And the way they're going to grow themselves is to notice lots of stuff. And they will. Now that they will. So that's how you do act for anxiety. Oh, I forgot. And you just make sure anxiety and depression gets in the lower left quadrant. That's all. If they showed up for panic disorder, put panic
That
disorder.
in there.
They show up for anger management problems.
Definitely put that in there.
Anger goes in the lower left. Your problem goes. Your problem is usually something like anxiety, depression, panic, anger,
Pain.
stuff like that, and it goes in the lower left. I mean, not very many people show up and say, "I'm just having too much fun."
Yeah, I'm living a life of ecstatic wonder. That's why I'm here.
We don't get a lot of those. So usually they're coming in with yucky stuff, right? So you put it in the lower left. Now, let's just stop for a second. By doing that, by showing them the diagram and then having them say, "Oh, I have pain," and it goes in the lower left, that's diffusion.
Right there.
And you didn't even know it was diffusion, but it is.
You don't have to say this is diffusion. That's the right.
No, we
You're just
never
doing
use,
diffusion.
we don't really ever even say acceptance and commitment therapy.
No, we don't do that either.
We say, would you like to work for this using this point of view? We just call it a point of view. Everybody says yes to it, literally. So we go and then we work with them for as long as they want. And that's how you do it. Really, you're doing ACT. That's the thing. Take a deep breath. You are doing all of ACT. Absolutely. The entire process is right there. Values, lower right, diffusion, lower left, committed action, upper right. The unworkable change agenda is on the left side. You'll see that show up. That's all happening. The present moment awareness, that's the noticing. It's all built in. I built it in there so you could do this. So the only tricky part is that we work in a world where people want to get rid of stuff. They don't want to accept stuff. They want to get rid of stuff. So we have to tip our hat to them wanting to get rid of stuff. Okay. And they're not going to stop trying to get rid of stuff. I mean, I still take Tylenol for pain.
Oh yeah.
If I get too anxious, I might go take a walk.
Yeah.
A relief move,
Go for a run.
We all do, but now you're noticing yourself. Now you're noticing it. And in that noticing, you're learning how to accept the stuff and go ahead and do stuff with who and what's important to you.
Matters to you.
Turns out it's really simple. But you can do it all. You can even, we did it in the strictest of clinic settings, where somebody's coming in and you literally have an intake worker who's doing an intake. They're not an ACT therapist. They're doing the standard intake. You go from that, they get passed off to you, and now it's, well, I got this intake. I need to address the stuff on it. It all goes into the matrix, folks.
All fit there.
It's you can do this. You
Yep.
just get it out and just go to the person how it fits in there, and then you go on about your business. And now you're addressing anxiety and depression, or pain, or
Yep.
panic disorder, or whatever, PTSD, or
Trauma.
Of course, I started with PTSD, so
Yeah.
trauma memories, stuff like that, go into
Yep.
the lower left. And, we just take whatever language. In this case, it's anxiety and depression, lower left.
That's what they're there for.
Now, the treatment plan, strangely enough, is it would be something like, client is going to notice notice anxiety and depression over time, and notice if it lessens.
Yeah.
Or increases, either way.
Noticing, yeah, increasing or lessening of anxiety over time. Right.
That's the treatment plan.
Yep.
And people love it. They
Oh yeah.
enjoy it a lot. They really do. Yeah. And it's easy to remember. And
Well, I think we said it's simple. Have we said that it's simple? I think we've mentioned that a few times.
we want it to be simple.
Yeah.
We do not want to make this complicated, folks. No, one, okay. A lot of your clients won't get it if it's anything but simple. And two, in this day and age especially, you're going to be, if you're going working in a clinic or something, you're going to be seeing 25, 30 people a week. Happens a lot.
Yeah, easy.
Your life is better, your work life is better if you keep it simple. Because believe me, the clients will show up with more complex stuff.
Right.
And what you want to do is throw this simple process at them as they bring in,
whatever their issues are. Yeah.
But yeah, they got issues. They really do. There's no doubt about it. But now, what this gets you out of course, is advice giving. It reminds you that you don't give people advice.
You're out of the advice giving business. That's it. You're done.
You're instead drawing people like, oh, well, let's take a look at the point of view. Look at it from there. And they may ask you, what should I do? Personally, I just notice stuff.
Yeah.
And then I notice if solutions present themselves.
Show up.
By the way, the technical term for that is derived relational responding.
Ooh, there's a fancy term.
Fancy words for solutions show up, and people will come back and tell you that.
Right.
So you can grind this out day in and day out, week in and week out, months, years, absolutely. And you're doing ACT, and you're not getting into fights with people over homework.
Nope. You're not tussling over what they should and shouldn't be doing.
We don't tussle with anybody over anything.
Yep.
Doesn't do you any good. So we just get them noticing. And in the end of the day, folks, And we've done this with a lot of people. So it's noticing. Yeah, with anybody, Max, you probably use this. Jackie, you probably use this. In the end, it's noticing.
That's what it comes down to.
It comes down to noticing. You get better. Literally, that's the improvement. You get better at noticing.
That's what you're looking for.
Your noticing skills improve. You say, well, what am I noticing? Here we go. Oh, you're noticing who and what's important to you. You're noticing your yucky stuff showing up.
Check.
You're noticing yourself as you do relief moves. Noticing yourself as you do contentment moves. And you can even notice yourself noticing.
Ooh.
That's meta noticing.
That's really backed up noticing.
It's noticing. That's the dependent variable. That's the thing that changes an act. And that is, in my own heart of hearts, you get better at noticing.
Yeah. Better at noticing, and you're not messing with stuff.
Yeah. The more you do the noticing, it's just like Phil said. From 10 years ago, I'd have gone, well, I really got to get bent out of shape and go mess with that.
Yep.
And now it's like, I
don't need to mess with it.
I don't need to mess with that.
It'll kind of take care of itself.
It'll take care of itself. It'll show up.
Yeah.
And almost all the time it does. Now, we're not saying ignore health problems.
Oh, no. You got pain. You need to take care of that. Right.
But stuff in life where you didn't really need to get too bent out of shape about it. You don't get it. But you do go, wow, I'm noticing my heart doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Gee, I think I better do a relief move and go to the doctor's or the emergency room.
Yep.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yep.
But see, then you're actually noticing your own body better. Noticing.
Yep.
I notice I have a lot of aches and pains.
Oh boy. Starts in the first thing in the morning.
Yeah. And then it's like, what do you do? For the most part, all you can do is take a little Tylenol and get on about your business.
Yep.
I mean, I personally don't really want to get into the OxyContin thing or something. So it's that it. So I saw the simplicity, show them the diagram, make sure you have anxiety and depression in the lower left, and get people practicing noticing. Wash, rinse, repeat. And if you want to now, you can do this based off this Crowdcast. Absolutely, you can do this. Remember, they walk in, either you're doing the intake or it's been sent
If
to you.
someone handed you got the demographics, all that
You
stuff.
say, informed consent. I would like you to show you the point of view that I use, and you can decide if you want to work with me. Great. Show them the diagram. Noticing. You want to chit chat with me, and we'll sort your life into this point of view.
Yep.
Yeah. Why not? Let's do it.
I'm game.
So now you're off to the races. I know you're here for anxiety and depression. We're going to make sure and put that in the lower left. And really, for the first few weeks, what you want to focus on is noticing all the nuances, all the stuff about when anxiety and depression show up in your life. That's really what you're going to be doing. You're going to be and you're saying, well, what do you mean? I already noticed anxiety and depression showing up. That is true, but you're going to notice it even better.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do anything with it right now. You just notice it. That's how you do it. Oh,
Max has to leave.
Oh, yeah, we have fun.
Yeah.
We show this to people. It probably is too simple. But
Well,
but if
that's
you
yeah.
but if you notice, if you go, self, I think I have started doing mostly chit chat, check in therapy.
Well, once you get the process up and going, Kevin, I agree. The people I see after we get it going, and it really is discussion, conversation, checking in, putting stuff up on the board. It's that basic, simple, and now I would add sustainable because you can sustain that. You can sustain this over time. That's the whole point. A lot of stuff that people try, it's either too exotic or it's too complicated or it's too hard, and they just stop doing it.
They stop, you
You
stop,
stop. Yeah, you don't do it either.
everybody stops.
Yeah, it just crashes.
You
This
know,
doesn't crash.
well, we have people that have been doing this for 10 years and more.
Oh, easy, easy.
And now all you got to do is chit chat with somebody a
Yeah.
little bit, haul out the diagram, show them the point of view. You can start first. Now we start first thing with it.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
No.
You can chit chat with them for a while and then
Yeah.
hold out the diagram.
Yeah. They might come in and they might say, where do I start? I go, well, I just start with who's important to you.
I mean, from an informed consent point of view, compliance point of view, let's put it that way. You want to get it in the first session.
Yeah.
You want to show them what you're
Now,
doing.
you don't want to wait. You want to get it up as soon as you can.
That's all right. Now we put it up as soon as we can, just because it gives us a lot of leeway to play with stuff.
Yeah, it makes the rest of what you're going to do a whole lot easier.
Yeah, it just makes it easy. So somebody will say, oh, they might say, well, with my depression, I also have thoughts of suicide. And you go, oh, really?
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Where would you put
Which-
those? And because we've already shown it, we can do that. We can ask that question, well, where would you put those? And you say, well, Kevin, why would you do that? Because I want the person to diffuse from that stuff.
Yeah, we want them to get some distance from that suicide.
So now they can look at it from that distance, which is perspective taking. ACT is all about perspective taking. You're just shifting somebody's point of view with noticing. So they're gaining, they're going from the 10-foot view of their life to the 30,000-foot view.
Backed up.
This is just a way to, over time, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, all the way up to 30,000. Finally get up there. Baby steps, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. So I guess the only thing, the ACT matrix, and make sure anxiety and depression's in the lower left. Life's easy peasy. Doing therapy is not easy peasy.
No.
This is easy. And it's not your job for them to solve all the problems of their life. If you do that, you'll burn out in this business.
That's a prescription for disaster right there.
Start thinking, oh, it's all my responsibility.
Yeah. Nope.
Can't be. This can't be. You're not this business. Might be different if you were a surgeon or something like that, but you're not. This is the world of therapy.
Yep.
You know what? I think it's a political season. I just keep on getting.
Oh, you're getting the notifications, eh?
This is like the third one asking for.
They want money from you?
And by the way, just so you folks know, I have deleted that and asked not to be sent those.
And they still end up, they find ways, don't they? They do.
They want that money. So anyways, that's pretty easy. It's fine. Here's the other thing, folks. You do it this way, you will become an exquisite noticer.
Oh, man.
And
Yes.
so you're doing your own therapy. That's what you're doing, really. So actually, you're not doing this for your clients, you're doing it for yourself.
It's much less expensive that way too, instead of paying for your own.
Yeah. And you just get, the more you train you're training people to be noticers.
Exactly.
That's what you're doing.
Exactly. It's all you're doing.
And so as you train others to be noticers, you are noticing more just because.
Yep.
And to notice more. And, keeps showing up and get better at it. It's fun. So we'll be back. It'll be next Friday again.
Yeah, next Friday, another one.
What are we going to do? We'll tell them. Was it going to be, we have PTSD?
Well, we're going to look at our courses. We have couples and families. That's been
Somebody who's still here. Anybody? Oh, there's some people here. What's your vote? So, whatever somebody votes.
substance use, trauma,
We have substance use disorder. We have trauma.
and couples and families and groups.
Okay. Any of those? Strike. We'll do one of those next week. Which one do you want us to do? Anybody got?
Yeah. Anybody working? Trauma. David says trauma. 2 traumas. Okay, it's done.
Yeah, now we got 2. We got to do trauma.
All right.
Okay, that's it. We'll do trauma.
Trauma next Friday.
That's where this was invented for.
Right.
The ACT matrix.
Oh, cool. We can talk about that too.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Have a good one.
We appreciate you showing up.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.